It's a funny thing, they used to call westerns horse operas, and which I think is a very good description of them. It is operatic, emotional confrontations set out in the desert, and this is basically an interstellar horse opera. It's all that stuff, but in space. And I liked it very much. It's really good fun. It rips along. It's visually very arresting in a kind of cartoony way. It has some genuine depth to it in its characterizations, and it has lovely language. The language, which is this sort of strange mix of old Western frontier speak and modern sci-fi dialogue. It's a very interesting future retro collision. If the TV show was half as good as the film, I honestly can't see what it was that the TV bosses didn't like about it. Although, as I think Joss Whedon has said in interviews, the possibility is that it was simply too smart. And it is true that, as we know, being too smart on television isn't something that goes down well. But I know people who, having seen Serenity, have gone out and got Firefly, the box set DVD, whatever it is, and watched all the episodes of it and said that it's absolutely fantastic. So possibly like Twin Peaks, it is something that people will then rediscover. I'm sure there's a whole army of people out there who already have discovered Firefly, because apparently in certain early screenings, people who were big Firefly fans were literally in tears in the auditorium. There's a certain couple of things that happen that are very, very significant, which I won't give away for plot reasons, but people were being really moved. These are characters that they had already fallen in love with, and they had a lot invested in. As somebody who was totally outside of that, who came to it knowing nothing about it other than the name, I thought it was really, really interesting, really strange, really good fun, a little bit over the top for its own good sometimes. There are some times when the massive onslaught of explosions and dialogues and everything gets a little bit too much, and the plot is kind of fantastically contorted. But it is like kind of a sort of grown-up, smart, satirical sci-fi with heart. And I was really pleasantly surprised by it.
The tagline is "Can't stop the signal." Can you explain
Can't stop the signal.
Yeah, that's not very good, is it?
No, it's not. I can explain it, but in order to do so, I'd have to give away the ending, which I won't do. It's to do with there's a kind of heroic character. If they can broadcast something that will get out across the universe, it will solve a problem which I won't discuss, because that will give away the ending of the film. But "Can't stop the signal" is a rubbish tagline.
Yeah, because it doesn't explain much. And you mentioned Chiwetel Ejiofor being in it, but there's not big stars in here particularly.
No, and he's the villain, and he's really, really good. I mean, these people may well be big stars from television, because bear in mind that I'm not entirely aware of what constitutes a big star on TV. But no, it's a funny little independently spirited left field movie that seems to have developed a mainstream following. And like I said, there are apparently people out there who absolutely love Firefly. I mean, from the people I know who've seen Firefly, who've seen Serenity, they really think it's something special. As somebody who'd never seen Firefly, I think it's really good fun.
Feel physically sick?
Ragtail.
This is it.
Okay.
Excellent.
2 days in the life of a newspaper, and there's intrigue because the editor is having a thing with the deputy editor, and who is also the wife of the boss, and the editor is going to be fired unless they can get some dirt on the boss, and are they going to be able to do it, and blah, 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 blah. And it's all this kind of intrigue. It's inside Fleet Street, and there's these kind of great performances, and blah, 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 blah. Do we care? Because the problem with this whole film is, now I'm reading this from the press notes, okay, shot on HD digital with multi-camera handheld on-the-fly style in both colour and black and white, with 3 camera operators for every scene. And according to the director, the point of the process was about trying to make the film work in a way that would look fresh, new and contemporary, and would also provide the most conducive platform for the actors to achieve dramatic realism. Now, what this means is there is a cut, if not every second, then every nanosecond. It's like somebody will be sitting there talking, like if they were shooting you and me talking now, and there would be 3 cameramen running round, all sort of falling over, leaning, everything. Do you know what the phrase Dutch angle means?
No.
Okay, Dutch angle is like a filming term. It means a wonky angle. It's a gag because in Holland there are no wonky angles. Everything's flat. So if you have a wonky camera, it's called a Dutch angle. Boom, boom. Cameramen, aren't they a laugh? Everything is, all 3 cameras are wobbling, jittering, juddering, and every single scene is cutting between these cameras like jump, 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 jump. I mean, it makes Natural Born Killers look like a David Lean movie. And there may be a story in there. There may be some great performances in there. I mean, I love Malcolm McDowell. I think Malcolm McDowell is great, although I think he's been in some stinky movies. I really like Jennifer Jason Leigh. I mean, there are really good... And Ian Hart. I mean, Ian Hart is one of Britain's greatest actors.
Professor Quirrell from the Harry Potter film.
Exactly, but I know him best as, actually, John Lennon in Backbeat, and of course John Lennon in The Hours and the Times. But he's just a great, great actor. He's a really, really good character actor, and he's fabulous. you cannot concentrate on what's going on screen, or what's going on with the narrative, because what's happening on screen is the effect. It's like somebody just flickering, jittering, everything wobbling, everything strange. Honestly, what happened was, no, I thought this is it. I'm too old. I'm going to complain. Oh, how on earth can one watch a film with all this flittering and jittering and stuff? I'm sitting next to James King, who's what, 5?
Yeah, about
okay.
That.
Halfway through, James says to me, I got to go, I'm going to be sick. And I think, hooray! So James, goes out for a little breather. Somebody else starts walking out because exactly the same thing. I start to think, actually, this is not just me feeling nauseous. Most of the front row and a few rows back are feeling nauseous. And then you start thinking, actually, should we find out where the director lives and send her a tripod for Christmas? Here is a tripod. Put your camera on it. And then we can see what's happening with the actors, and then we can decide for ourselves whether anything that's happening in this story is worthy of our attention. Now, I know there's a whole thing about postmodernist, post-MTV, post-pop video style editing, and I think it reached its absolute apotheosis in Natural Born Killers, after which even Oliver Stone himself started to think he was overdoing it. Frankly, Ragtail, it's a sick bag of a movie. I mean, you need to watch it with air sickness pills. And Breaking the Waves in comparison was an absolute stroll on the beach. It is, and all it's doing is throwing all that style and substance at you, because it's saying, in the end, you might be bored with what's on screen. You know what? Just give me the chance to be bored with what's on screen. That's all I ask. I'd like to see the story, please. Thank you.
Movie of the week.
Serenity.
Thank you. Shiona Brown, there was a little moment of serenity there when you finished.